guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We got a nice little Fender acoustic on the bench today. We're going to get to work on it. It needs the full Monty. Been left to languish for quite a few years, according to the customer. It is a family heirloom, so it's been in the family for a long time, and he was asking questions about, should I just get rid of it? Well, never. So I did a quick evaluation on it, and definitely not. This guitar is going to sing again. Let's get to work. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Nice little Fender acoustic. It's an F-35, really dirty fretboard. The guitar itself is really quite dirty, but that's all part of my setup. We're going to restring it, of course. We're going to get some of this stuff off right away. Let's get to it. Yeah, I don't know why anybody ever does that when they make wire cutters just for this purpose. Maybe because it looks cool? I don't know. I like this little guitar, and I just did a quick evaluation on it, and unless it breaks in half while I have it on the bench, which I don't see happening, I kind of really looked at it. It seems to be put together and held together really well. I checked all the binding. Everything looks pretty solid on it. Nice. I don't see any oddball bowing or just any of all the binding. I mean, this guitar looks like it's really held together nicely. It's got some character, some beauty marks on it, but the heel, the neck, everything is set properly. It's got a truss rod adjustment up here, which I love. So let's get these strings up. Now, because of the age, I'm going to do this by hand. I don't want to. It doesn't have the best tuners on it. And I mean, these, I've seen these kind before, and they're cheap plasticky, but these are actually the good original Fender. They're all metal. They all seem to work well, but I just don't feel comfortable putting the power tool on it until I get all the strings off and I'm able to really check it out. Some of them are looser than others, but I think we're going to be okay. They're vintage. I mean, the whole instrument is really vintage for the most part. I don't know the year on it. I'm going to guess 80s, maybe 70s. I don't know. Could be newer than that, but I doubt it. And doing this by hand, of course, takes a lot more time. It's going to get a full restring and setup. I'm a little concerned about these on old vintage acoustics. They tend to not want to agree with you when you're trying to restring it, but you have to find one that trumps my efforts. Sometimes they don't agree, but we can always make it work. Yeah, these tuners are all really loose and wonky. I really do not want to put a power tool on it until I get all of this off and can inspect them correctly. I'm sure you understand. It's even got the old style Fender logo on it. These are all really loose. I think all of the machines are loose in the back. Probably we're going to be filling some holes and repairing screws. I can't remember the last time I did this by hand. I did tell him that if these things went the way of the dodo bird or they came apart, we'd have to get a whole set for it, but I'm really going to try not to have that happen. I hope I didn't stick my foot in my mouth. It's amazing to me that, you know, some people will look at an old instrument and say, well, should I just go get a new guitar? No, never, ever, ever, ever. Let's try to save this one. Unless it was broken or cracked or the body was separating. Yeah, then I go, well, maybe that's the way we gotta go. I'll bet you any amount of money this nut pops out. Because it looks like it's been replaced at some point in this guitar's life. And usually when you least expect it, most things just go, yeah, it doesn't even fit in there right. Whoever put it in didn't know what they were doing. Probably put a pre-fitted nut in there at some point, glued it in, and it's stuck in there pretty tight, but big gap there and no gap there. So yeah, hopefully we'll have good string spacing when we're done. If not, that puppy's coming out. We're gonna put a new one. Didn't notice any oddball string spacing issues, but you can see right there it doesn't quite fit right. But that's not the end of the world. As long as we get a good break angle and the strings don't buzz or do anything stupid on me. Now these puppies are going to be way down in there and stuck because they've been in there since Moses was wearing short pants. If they're in there snug now, they should go back in snug. Unless some of them break. And yeah, they get brittle over time and they do tend to break. Won't know until we get going. And somebody at some point in its life didn't know how to take them out because there was all kinds of rash across here where they were grinding on it. Flush cut pliers. These are snippers, and you just kind of put them in there. They're beveled just so that if you put them in there and just gently lift up, usually you can get those things to pop right out. I've tried every tool under the sun to do this, and these flush cut pliers are the ones that work the best. Yeah. Now we know our string action's a little tall, but not terrible. When I originally evaluated the guitar, they were a little taller than I would like, but we have nothing left here in the saddle. My guess is this saddle is going to be stuck in there and not want to come out, and I'm probably not going to want to disturb it. I think I'm going to leave it in there because, yeah, once that pops out, then I'm cutting a new saddle. And I don't want to do that because I know I also noticed that the neck was in a kind of a back bow, or I'm sorry, a banana, and it was causing string height to be too tall. So we can't cut this down, we know that, but we can adjust the string height by getting in there and putting the neck relief where it belongs, which will effectively get my string height, my action, at a more palatable height. So all that being said, yeah, some of these were really loose and wonky. That one. All of the machine inner workings are a little loose, but once you get string tension on them, they tend to tighten up. But loose screws, that's a no good scenario, and yeah, they're going to be stripped. So let's fix them right now. Thing out and get something in there that'll make it tighter, which is, you know, micro dowel, or as we affectionately refer to them as toothpicks. Let's just see how much it goes down in there. Enough. Don't need that much. Put a little toothpick down in there, and the screw will now have something to bite on and push against the inner wall of that whopped out screw hole. Yep. And that will be that. They move freely. They're not hanging up. And no, I'm not going to put any lube in there, and I'll tell you why, because all it will do is attract more dust. And that's not what I'm after. Let's just get them secure and get them ready to accept new strings. I'm surprised these screws didn't fall out completely. Nice and tight. Some guys put a little dollop of wood glue in there, but it's not necessary. These things are not holding the clutch plate on a Harley Davidson. They don't need to be that super tight. That one's loose too. No, they're not going to tighten up. They just need to be snug and secure. And that is what we use. Toothpicks. Best sinks and sliced bread. For these tiny holes, they work perfectly. Just snip off enough for it to go in the cavity and be flush. The screw will do the work when it goes back in the hole. And just push it in there flush. You don't have to get crazy. It's not rocket science. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and I'm starting to realize that almost everybody knows this trick, but every once in a while I run into somebody else who's never seen it, and they're appalled. Oh, that's not a real repair. Okay, well, you want me to do a real repair? I can over drill them and glue in dowels and do all that. I'll charge you $100 to fix the headstock. I just fixed it for nothing, and trust me when I tell you it's fixed. That one's loose. One is loose, one's tight. Get in there. A little tedious. I'm going to pause while I fix the rest of these, whichever ones are loose, and we'll be right back. So, yeah, I had to fix almost all of them. A few were still nice and tight, but, you know, that's what you do. You fix things like this because the guy trusted me to work on his guitar. I'm not just going to throw strings on it and go, here you go. Let's clean it all up. Make sure all the hardware is tightened. On an acoustic like this, this is really the only hardware you have. Nothing else is bolted in. Yeah, we're going to have to do a wash job on that, and we're going to clean the frets. So let's do, first I'm going to use a little bit of let's see how much of this green stuff comes off. Oh, yeah, wow, there's a lot on there. So this process will take a while. Some of it will come off, some of it will not. But we're going to first, I'm going to sand off with like 800 or 1000 grit, really soft sandpaper, just to get the crown cleaned. And then I'm going to go through and do them all with fret eraser. So stand by, because this does take a few minutes. We got to do them all, and we're going to end up doing them all like 4 times. Yeah, they're definitely going to be better, but boy, are they neglected. All right, stand by. So as usual, you know, we went through, I did a 4-step process on this one, and we did 3 pieces of sandpaper, which are a little bit more aggressive than even the fret erasers. But then I went through all 3 steps of the fret erasers, 180, 400, and then 1000, just to get a polish back on the top of these frets, because, well, that's the business end of any guitars. We're the top of the fret. So basically, I say the top of the fret, but it's mostly the fret, and the whole crown gets cleaned up and polished. I noticed some sharp fret ends, but I'm not going to get in a twist over that because most of them are down here. I'm definitely not going to go into dressing the fret ends on this unless he wants to bring it back at a later date and ask me to clean that up. I think for this guitar, it's not really in the cards. And like I said, this guitar has lived right here in the money spot. That's where all the money is made, and the frets don't feel that bad up here. It's not until you get all the way down here that they get really sharp on the ends. They never finished it right. That's okay. Sorry about you headphone users. Next step. Yeah. Dirty birdie. Scrub her down. This is always a big reveal moment, especially on a guitar that's been played a lot in its life and not cleaned up as much as maybe it should have been. A lot of goop coming off of there. And this is where we're going to have little pieces of paper towels everywhere because all these sharp fret ends are going to grab it and make a mess. Dirty nastiness. Really bad. That's why we need to maintain our instruments. You wouldn't go 25 years without cleaning yourself, would you? I don't think so. Yeah. I know some of you know what the next step is. And yup, that board needs to be oiled because damn. So one of my customers learned from me about boiled linseed oil. What did he do? He went and bought regular linseed oil. Nah, that's not the one you want. There's a difference. Don't ask me what the chemical composition, the exact difference is, but don't use regular linseed oil. Use boiled linseed oil. Apply it, let it soak in, and this one is going to take a lot. So I'm really kind of applying it thicker than I normally would. Like that first pass, it sucked it right up already. Yeah, I think it's going to take 2 applications. Let's see how it looks. I'm going to pause because I really want it to soak in there before I go in and start taking it off. Yeah, I want it to get into the wood and revitalize it. Stand by. Wow, that board came alive. And we're just going to wipe it off. I put 2 applications on, heavier than I would usually put it because it needed it. And I can tell you this guitar has been played a lot. The frets are showing play wear, and the fretboard itself has where all the major chords would be played in the cowboy chord area. Yeah, even the fretboard is divoted, not just the frets themselves. I like to see that. I am confident that this guitar is going to sing and make music again. There is no reason to let this guitar go anywhere. Yeah, it's just an old Fender, but I like that. I like old Fenders. Why wouldn't you? That's a little fluffies everywhere. Let's get to cleaning this girl. I see something here. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Until you see what comes off the top of this guitar. Not even looking, I already know. It almost looks like chalk. Huh. Look at how dirty that is. I'm going to try something on that pick guard. I don't know. Maybe it'll come off. Maybe it won't. Let's try. It needs to be cleaned better. At least it doesn't need to be vacuumed out. I had one the other day. There was the biggest, God, it looked like under somebody's bed that hadn't ever been vacuumed or swept out. There were dust bunnies the size of cotton balls in there. I had to get the vacuum out and suck it all out. I mean, there's some shit in there, but I'm not going to get in a twist over that. I'm going to try a different product on this pick guards just to see if it responds. Maybe we can get those white marks off there. I don't know. It looks like chalk, but it's not. And no, it ain't coming off. I think I lightened them up, and that's about it. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before. Picking with a piece of chalk. I don't know. No. I guess we'll call it character. Some stuff just won't come off, but you get that top layer off and all of a sudden the guitar is smooth. I mean, I could get after the whole guitar with polish, but I don't think the end result is going to get us any better looking than that. And you can see that now it's shiny. It's not dull anymore. I know the camera is probably not going to pick a whole lot of this up, but this video is really all about taking an old guitar and prepping it to get it ready to play again. And part of that is, or actually most of it, is cleaning it up and getting the outer layer of who knows decades of crap off of it. Could we go farther? Yeah, but we're not going to. Not on this one. I just don't see any reason to. We're going to make it look pretty, and we're going to make it sound really good. That's the most important thing. We're going to clean it up as best as we can. Get the outer layer of decades of sitting around and not being cleaned up. I mean, most people don't spend a lot of time cleaning their instrument. I suppose probably most of us do when they're new, but as a guitar starts to get a little age on it, that stops. Yeah, it's part of life, I guess. We lose interest, and all we want to do is play it. Is this an important step? Yeah, absolutely. If you don't do this, you're going to get back a guitar that plays, but it's filthy. What point is that? Some of the stuff stays on there. That's character, you know, my mantra. Nah, guitars get character on them. None of us look at 50 or 60 or even 40 or 30 like we did when we were 15 or 20. That's okay. Gain character and wisdom. This guitar has got character. This is always the funnest part, working around the machines. Because you can never get it looking as good as a flat surface, but it's still going to get cleaned as best as I can. Can't get the metal. I mean, if I was doing a restoration on this guitar, yeah, I'd take all the machines apart and restore them, and you know, by the time you get done, you're going to have $1,000 into this guitar. We know that's not realistic. Oh, it's nice and clean and smooth again. Even the back of the neck. Yeah, I'm filming a lot more of cleaning this guitar than I normally would. I would shut it off and go, you guys don't want to see me cleaning this guitar, but I did have a few questions. How do you get in and around and make them look so good when you get done? Well, it's just a little elbow grease. You got to get after it. You can't shortcut this step. It will make the instrument look better when you're done. Why wouldn't you do this? There's no magic tool to do it. You just got to get after it and let it rip. Doesn't that look much better? Doesn't that look much better? And that? Look at the way the light shines off of it. This instrument was waiting to have somebody do this. That, I don't know. I could probably try to wet sand it, tape everything off, wet sand it, and make that come off, but nah. That ain't in the cards for today's job. If this was a real vintage instrument from 70 years ago, yeah, maybe we'd be doing something like that. But not today. Not today. What we've done has really brought this instrument back to life a lot. Boy, it's got a lot of character. A lot of character. We're going to call that it for today. It was a lot of washing and cleaning and taking it apart and talking about the instrument. But I'm going to do a second part, and that's going to be stringing it and getting it ready to play. We're going to make some adjustments here to get the string height where we want it. And that'll be that. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Let's talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. I appreciate all of your support. Ciao.